What's up, guys? So in today's video we're going to be doing the top 5 things I love about my Civic Si, specifically the 8th gen Civic. This is pretty much for anyone who's either looking to buy an Si, someone who already has one and wants to agree or disagree in the comments down below, or anyone who wants to know what the Honda scene's really all about, because this car pretty much encompasses anything that any Honda enthusiast or even car enthusiast could ever want. Alright, so let's start off with the number 1 thing I love about my Honda Civic Si. Every Honda boy loves it, every non-Honda boy wants it. It's that VTEC crossover. This specific car, the 8th gen with the K20Z3, has pretty much the most brutal VTEC crossover of most K-Series, or most Hondas in general, honestly. Stock, it kicks in at about 5,800 or so, but when you get a tune, you can drop it down to 4,500, 4,000, whatever you want, really, and it'll just slap as soon as it turns on. I'll drop in some clips now, that way you guys can see what I'm talking about. Second thing I love most about my car is the fact that it's really got that old Honda feel, but it's still got like a perfect blend of new technology. It's got, I think in 09 they added a USB port. This is actually the same generation through 06 through 11. Mine's a 2011 specifically. So it's just got a couple extra things like the USB port. They changed the brake light, nothing crazy. But it still feels like you're driving a 06 Honda, really, or even an older one. Just the way that it doesn't have that electric power steering that a lot of newer cars have, where you don't really get that connection to the road, but this has just an old school style power steering pump. So when you're cornering and everything, especially if you have coilovers, camber arms, suspension mods like that, it really feels like you're driving an EG or an EK when you're taking corners, because it's just so planted. As most of you probably already know, this car only came with a 6-speed manual transmission. Thankfully, they didn't switch to a lot of the newer cars doing a 8-speed auto with paddle shifters and things like that. But Honda really kept this an enthusiast car by only making it in a manual transmission, which I really like, because the car really just wouldn't be the same without it. The only thing that kind of feels like a newer car is the fact that it has a drive-by-wire throttle system. So instead of a cable-driven throttle, like a lot of the older Hondas, where you can actually feel the throttle opening as you push the pedal, this stock, it really feels kind of dead. The first like 15% is really a dead zone, but you can actually tune the throttle response to be whatever you want. So once you get the car tuned, you can make it feel like it's a cable driven throttle, really. You don't obviously get that feedback through the pedal, but it still feels nice and it's still really responsive. Number 3 on my list has to be the fact that this car just revs so high. Out of the factory, I believe the limiter's at 8,300. The Redline starts at $8,000, but once you tune the car, you can make it safely up to about 8,600. That's where I have mine set at personally, just because I'm still on the stock oil pump. You can upgrade to like a Type S ported pump, which that's rated for 10,000. Obviously, you need a built head for that, but on this setup, just bolt-ons, you can raise the limit up to $9,000, no problem, with the ported Type S pump. The car continues to build power all the way till limiter, so I'd be curious to see where it actually drops off once I get it on the dyno here. I'll insert some clips for you guys now to show you exactly how high the Redline is on my car. On the TAC, it reads closer to $9,000. It reads about 8,900, but I think it's just because I have a little bit of a smaller tire than what comes on the car stock. Either way, I'll let you guys see for yourself right now. About my car is the fact that when you tune it on Honda, you can set it to where it has adjustable 2-step. I'll show you guys how to use it real quick. You use the cruise control buttons actually, and you can set the 2-step to whatever you want it to be at, depending on what kind of tire you're using or what kind of a street or drag strip setup you're on. That way you can get the perfect launch every time. If you haven't already, make sure you guys like this video and comment down below what your top 5 things are of the car. That way we can compare, because there's probably a couple things that I missed. Really, I really should have done a top 10 list, but there's just so many things I love about this car. So for number 5, the last thing I love about my Civic Si has got to be the gear ratios of this 6-speed here. Since you got a K20, you don't really have a lot of torque compared to the K24 or any big displacement like V6s or V8s. You don't really have much power below 5 grand really. Even though VTEC kicks in at 4,500, you still got to wait a little bit for the power to actually kick on. Most of the power is actually right about like 6,500 to almost Redline, pretty much 8,000. That's where most of your power is going to be. So since this has a very close ratio gearbox, whenever you shift, it only drops down like, I'm not sure exactly, but it's just like probably 1,500 or 2,000 RPM, because it keeps you in that power band the whole time that you're running. To show you guys the gear ratios, I'm going to throw in some no-lift shifting clips here. That way you guys can see how many RPMs it drops down between shifts. I actually just figured out you can no-lift shift and it doesn't even lock you out. There's a little bit of a hesitation between 1 to 2, just because I still have the stock master cylinder and slave cylinder. I did modify the slave cylinder, took out the clutch delay valve so you can get into second a little bit quicker, because there used to be a really bad lockout. But I'll throw in some clips. I think I have a 1 to 2, a 2 to 3, and a 3 to 4 that I'll put in here so you guys can see. Those are my top 5 things I love about the Civic Si. Thank you guys for watching. Thanks for stopping into the channel. Make sure you check out some of my other videos. I got like 3 uploads a week going right now. I should be able to continue at that pace because I still have a lot of content planned and a lot of cars to do, walk around videos, street races, things like that. So make sure you check that out. Other than that, hope you guys have a good day.